Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of this podcast. Now, the rest of Everest is probably the most in-depth look at just what it takes to climb the world's highest peak. But keep in mind that it is a series. And if you're checking out the podcast for the first time, do yourself a favor, go back to episode 0 and watch everything in order. That's really the right way to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience.
Episode 67, Fixing a Hole.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm John Miller. I hope you guys are enjoying this show as it's a little bit on the uneventful side right now, but things will really pick up soon. And remember, it's all part of the journey. And joining me on this journey from Yosemite in California again is Scott Jacobs. How you doing, Scott?
Doing well. How's everybody doing today?
This episode I'm really interested to release because it's going to be pretty telling of the Nepalese culture again. But it's just, I just find it fascinating, and I hope all of you will as well. But you can kind of see the work ethic, and you can see, just what it's really like in Kathmandu outside of the tourist district. So let's head back up to Kathmandu as we are actually on the road heading to Pokara, and we get into a little bit of car trouble, so here we go. Alright, so we are now on our way to Pokara. So we're just leaving Kathmandu. Today is, I think it's the 5th. Scott, is it the 5th? It's the 5th of April now. I forget what day of the week that is. And I want to say it's a Thursday, but I'm just not. Okay, Scott's giving me the thumbs up, it's a Thursday. So we have a driver that Babu, our Karma, set up for us, and we're in Karma's car and we're driving to Pokara, and we're just starting to get out of the insane traffic in Kathmandu. We were stuck there for a few minutes because everyone wanted to move forward, no one wanted to move backwards and let other people through, so it got a little bit strange there for a minute, but Kathmandu is just a crazy place. It's so amazing.
I remember we had a big traffic jam at the intersection, and it actually took a police officer to come and clear it, but it was the first time that I had seen traffic refuse to yield.
Yeah.
I think if there are rules of the road, it relies on the yielding of other motorists, and it just was not working for a good 20 minutes.
You need help? No. Okay, please.
All right, this is our driver here, and Scott, what do you remember his name being? I never wrote it down.
Do we change tires or buy a tire? I'm not sure. So.
I remember Dolza, but he had very thick accents, and so it was hard to understand his name. But I knew him as Dolza.
Right.
The thing I love is there are people everywhere.
I know.
This is a city of 500,000, probably more. My guidebook said 500,000 in 2001, so it's a little bit dated, and it just seems there are people everywhere.
It's pretty amazing though, because you think how spread out the city is, and I'm thinking like Denver has over 1 million people, and but why is the city so spread out if there's only 500,000 here? And it's because none of the buildings are higher than like 6 stories. So apparently we had gotten a flat tire, and we were like, okay, no big deal. We'll just get it repaired. It will be quick. There's someone. Everyone was interested when I was filming. But I just found this to be fascinating, watching this guy repair the tire. And it's just like, we just pulled over the side of the road, and I guess he pulled over where he saw a shop and everything, but I wouldn't necessarily have been able to tell that it was a car repair shop.
I had no idea. You know, I believe we'd picked up a nail or a hole, a slow leak, and we had 200 kilometers to go. So I think he was prepared for this. I think this was part of his plan. it was to stop it on the way.
I thought it was funny because, you know, Karma felt really bad for us not having the being allowed to, you know, go to China, because even though we had a reservation, for whatever reason it wasn't held, and so, you know, he hooked us up with this trip to Pokara, and, you know, he paid for it. He didn't have us pay for it, but he even gave the driver his own car. Karma gave the driver Karma's car.
That's Karma's car that we're changing the tire on right now.
I think it's funny how you're like 3 feet taller than most of the people around.
I'm 3 feet taller than most people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've got it.
Find it?
Yeah.
This guy here really knew his stuff. See, and then there's just people who sit around and just watch. People are just always watching what's going on. I don't know if those guys worked there, or if they were friends, or if they were just
family, or just hanging out.
Yeah.
Watch this though. I enjoy, you know, the method of changing the tire remains the same, right? But the tools that he's using, we chock the wheels with rocks, right? So it's just simple.
Yeah.
no need to purchase specialized chocks, because we've got the tools for them, you know, they're right there.
Everything's handmade. You know, it's all kind of improvised. You'll see his toolbox in a second. I do a close-up, and I tell you, it doesn't look like any toolbox from like Sears auto department or anything. That's his toolbox. Those are all the tools he needs.
You know, looking at this now, that tire's pretty bald.
Yeah.
I think that's only a tire in the title alone.
Again, just people hanging out, watching. And you see it's all dirt and everything, and rocks, and at the front of the shop, and you know, that's just the way it is. You don't need a highly manicured landscape to do business in Kathmandu.
Pretty strategically placed tire shop though, because we're kind of in a wide spot in the road, kind of like a bus stop would be, right on the corner of a very busy intersection, a roundabout, and it's just constant traffic streaming around. So it's definitely a method to his madness of placing his shop there. So he gets a lot of business.
I said we just go back to the hotel. He said tire only may have a spot for us.
This was a little bit discouraging to me. Not necessarily the dog, even though those it was discouraging, but a lot of trash. A lot of trash everywhere.
Plan changes again.
You got to stay flexible, you know. It's standby to standby, but you know, again, it's one of those things. I think if we can get to Tibet, that would be better. Well, I don't know. I would like to see Pokara, but a couple of days in Tibet extra is good, because we can make it to base camp.
Yeah, because we could always leave base camp early.
And I can always come back and see Pokara and check the Annapurna. So
Yeah, there you go.
But again, it's like I think flexibility is the key here.
So how did that happen?
Babu just called on the cell phone.
Okay.
And I'm not exactly sure. He's not exactly sure, but he said call him back in 1/2 hour.
Okay.
I think he wanted to make sure we didn't get too far out of town.
Okay, so we're just gonna stay put.
Either that or the hotel's right there. We can go back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it was real hard to hear, so I wasn't exactly sure what he wanted.
Okay.
So
Who'd he call?
he called our driver, and
Yeah, Karma had called to say, I can get you on the plane. You guys got to come back. The plane to Lhasa. So as we're heading to
I think
Pokara, he's like, come
he
back.
just didn't want us to get too far out of town.
We get a second phone call real quick here that says, get back. Not
Yeah.
just, you might get on the plane, you're on the plane in 10 minutes, get to the airport.
And he was going to meet us at the airport with our bags.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this guy work. This guy is fixing that hole. I don't think he was conscious that I was even there for most of the stuff that I was filming. He was just so, just so focused on fixing that tire. That guy's supervising. He's helping a lot. That's part of the price that you, that's what they charge for supervision. I love listening to this because it just takes me back, you know, just the horns and everything, and you can hear all the scooters and motorcycles in the background.
Absolutely.
As you can hear, and I've said it before, people drive with their horns. Once you go on these trips, you come back and you're driving around, to work or something like that here back in the United States, and you want to honk your horn to get people to get out of your way. But it's just not the etiquette out here. There's our supervisor again. I always have to lean down. I'm just so much taller than everyone. People were just so friendly. And you'll hear Scott and I both say it again and again and again, just how friendly people are.
You just feel at ease. You just feel comfortable.
Yeah. And this is
kind of want to hang out.
This is the sad part. After all that work, they just put on the little donut spare tire.
Well, we just got the phone call, so it's also saying we've got to go now. I think Karma had mentioned get to the airport. Get to the airport now.
Don't worry about fixing that tire. Put the spare on. Get to the airport. In that previous shot, Scott, you look like you're Secret Service. Which actually, you've kind of done that before.
Well, yeah, never did.
Yeah, but you protected the First Lady when she came to visit Mesa Verde.
I guess I do stick out like a sore thumb in Nepal. With that 6'3" shaved head, I'm the tallest white guy out there, You do too, as a matter of fact, though. You're pretty tall.
Yes, I do.
It's kind of hard to blend in as a local when you're in Nepal. But I think it only made the experience better because folks were so curious about us and interacted with us so much.
Okay, so we had a brief trip back to the airport. We got a call from Karma saying that the airplane did have a couple of seats on it this morning, and we should try to book it back to the airport and try to get on the flight today. So we drove back from where the tire was getting fixed, and Karma met us at the airport with our bags, and it was just all very rushed, and you can't really film at the airport, or maybe you can, but the guards with the guns don't really, they frown upon it, so I tend to keep the camera put away. But so we ran towards the gate. We went through security, and as soon as we got to the check-in booth, the manager of the flight looked at us and said, "No," closed. So apparently, even if there were seats on the plane, the decision is his to let us on, and he decided not to. So we decided to go back to the road to Pokara. So we have just come out of the Kathmandu metropolitan area, and we are now headed towards Pokara. And we're obviously on the highway now. There's lots of trucks, and we're getting into the hills here. And it's great. It feels good to be back on the road again in Nepal. And so I think Pokara is about 200 kilometers away from Kathmandu. So we've been on the road for some time now, so we should be there in the next few hours.
Yeah, the next few hours is right. The Nepal highway system is definitely not like the United States.
It took us 5 hours.
Yeah, it was just amazing. But yeah, we'll see more of that next week, and I think it's really cool. The terrain that you go through is really beautiful, and it's just so interesting to see all the different houses and just seeing the way people live, and people live right on the road. Their houses are built right on the road, and it's the highway system, so it's pretty amazing. Thanks so much for joining me, Scott.
Hey, thank you, John.
All right, and everyone, we will see you next week. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywoo.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.